Okay.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Daily Herold here on Badlands Media. I'm your host, John Herold, and it's finally Friday. This week has been an interesting one, to say the least, but it's almost over with. And how is the chat doing? Got all the regulars in here. It's good to see. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, everybody. Just want to forewarn you, this episode is probably going to be shorter. I'm going to try to keep it shorter. I have a pretty busy rest of my day today, and some stuff I need to get done, a couple calls this afternoon, and I'm actually going to be heading back home today. So I'm going to get through as much as I can, as quickly as I can, and we'll get right to it. But first, let's get a quick word from our sponsors. And let's start with a little Tamarac Garden. These guys are awesome. Great people, great products. Can't recommend them enough. Introducing Tamarac Gardens handcrafted herbal remedies, teas, and skincare made with weeds, wildflowers, and wild harvested herbs in the Pacific Northwest. Their products will heal your skin, boost collagen, lighten dark spots, and slow aging. Plus, it's a safe for babies, grandmas, and everyone in between. From salves for headaches, bug bites, and arthritis to supplements for liver, kidney health, they harness God's bounty for your health to keep you out of the doctor's office. Family owned in North Idaho, Tamarac Gardens dermatologist recommended products support your body inside and out, because your health deserves better. Visit tamaracgarden.com today, and with promo code Badlands, you will get free shipping on orders over $35. That's tamaracgarden.com, promo code Badlands. Like I said, they're great people. Met them at GART, and we use their bug bite one religiously, like no joke. We also got a little soft disclosure. Let me play that for you guys, then we'll get right into the news.
Deodorant should do more than cover you up. It should protect you all day long.
Dude, the deodorant stick is legit. I like the mint one. And, you go work out and you kind of get like, you get funky if you work out. Dude, like at the end of my workout, like I'm sweating, shirt got all those sweat. Like I'm like, dude, I still smell good. Like I absolutely love it. If you guys haven't tried it, try it.
That's the difference with Soft Disclosure. No aluminum, no chemicals, just clean, natural ingredients that fight odor and keep you fresh through every workout, every meeting, every moment.
I've always struggled with the, you can't use aluminum deodorant because you're going to die if you use it kind of thing, because all of the non-aluminum deodorant products suck pretty much. Yeah. This is different. This is all day. You're all day good, and you're not putting any of that disgusting chemicals right near your lymph nodes.
Soft Disclosure deodorant, real protection, real freshness, built on truth. Available in mint and lemon grapefruit. Visit softdisclosure.com and use promo code Badlands for 15% off.
Soft disclosure. All right. I saw some people in the chat were asking for an update on my girlfriend and how she's doing. She has passed gas. She's returning to normal bowel functions. And so we were able to go home from the hospital. That's also why I'm able to go home later today. So thank you for the prayers, everybody. It great. Richard Ward, John, how about a Badlands air freshener? That's not a bad idea. Maybe something we can work on. But yeah, let's get cracking here. There's no update on the Doge website. And there was one update on the presidential White House website, and it was this Constitution Week. Trump, I believe he's coming back today, or maybe he's already back. I'm not 100% certain from his trip to Europe or whatever. I'm looking for that Antifa document signing and see what that executive order looks like. But until then, this is the only thing. This Constitution Week, Congress passed a law. They wanted, a joint resolution as of August 2nd in 1956 requested the president proclaim the week beginning September 17th and ending September 23rd of each year as Constitution Week. So that's what he put out here. And I'm just going to double check and make sure there wasn't any other updates since I pulled out this morning. Yeah, nothing else. By the way, guys, is my audio okay? I'm not as confident with this microphone as I am the one I got at home, so just want to make sure. Five by five. Okay, cool. Thank you. Jessica Storm, he has an EO signing at 3 p.m. Eastern, but it's closed to the press. Okay. That is good to know. He did get off the phone today with President Xi, and I got a post that he shared with us. I just completed a very productive call with President Xi of China. We made progress on many very important issues, including trade, fentanyl, the need to bring the war between Russia and Ukraine to an end, and the approval of the TikTok deal. I also agree with President Xi that we would meet at the APEC summit in South Korea, that I would go to China in the early part of next year, and that President Xi would likewise come to the United States at an appropriate time. The call was a very good one. We will be speaking again by phone. Appreciate the TikTok approval, and both look forward to meeting at APEC. So he's saying he got the approval on TikTok. No details, at least as far as I've seen, have been released. The only other thing on the White House website, I forgot to show you guys this, is they have this new thing out here called the White House Wire. And maybe this isn't new, but this is the first time I've seen it. And it's like all the important news stories, I believe, from the context of the White House and the country and whatnot, from their perspective anyway. So something to keep tabs on. I think this is a pretty interesting idea. The White House, wh.gov/wire. Or you can just tune in here at Badlands or the Badlands newsletter, and we'll do all this work for you and distill the news to you. But yeah, here's one of the big stories. Trump Starmer signed a $350 billion tech deal to spur AI, nuclear energy, and quantum computing. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. This is one of those things, you know, we have these, some might call them conspiracy theories of what is going on between Trump and Russia and some of the sovereign alliance stuff and this war in Ukraine and Trump saying he's disappointed in Putin and all these different things. When we ultimately believe, or at least speaking for myself, that NATO is not an actual ally of ours, like a lot of the things they've done over the past decade or longer, but especially when Trump's been in there, has been not something an ally would do, right? And it's interesting to see Trump reaching these deals with these people when they are the ones that I believe are in the path, like they're in the way of the peace deal that he's trying to get done between Russia and Ukraine. And ultimately, it makes me wonder what kind of tech deal and AI and nuclear deal is Trump going to eventually do with somebody like Putin? Michelle, 1957. Has anyone talked about Boone Cutler passing away? Yes, I did talk about that yesterday. It's very sad. Very sad. Green one. No, you sound kind of gay, but I guess that's usual. That's normal. That's more so if the levels of gayness are within range. Does John ever not do a short show? Yeah. I try to keep this show always under an hour, and sometimes I go well shorter than that too. Kind of depends what's going on and how much I get on a soapbox and start ranting. A couple days ago, Trump put out a True Social post that he wanted to eliminate quarterly reporting for businesses and switch to semi-annually. And now Paul Atkins, the chairman at the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has said that they're going to propose the rule change since he posted about it. I welcome that posting by the president, and I've talked to him about it. In principle, I think to propose change in what our rules are now, I think would be a very good way forward. And then we'll consider that and move forward after that. He said if the rule change is approved, it will be left to companies to decide whether they switch to semi-annual or stay with quarterly. For the sake of shareholders and public companies, the market can decide what the proper cadence is. So expect that change to come shortly. Ricky Irish, when he's with when I'm with BB, those shows are tough to keep on the shorter side. We did like a 2-hour show the other night, and that was us trying to keep it shorter, which is pretty funny. The Trump administration has reinstated the citizenship test, and updates scrapped under Biden. Trump admin is reinstating the 2020 U.S. citizenship test, reversing Biden's rollback of changes first made during Trump's initial term. USCIS announced Wednesday sample questions will include: name one thing the U.S. Constitution does, name one war fought by the United States in the 1800s, and why did the United States enter World War I? Like the 2020 format, the updated test guide includes 128 possible questions compared to 100 under the earlier version. Applicants must still answer 12 out of the 20 questions correctly to pass, though examiners may now stop once an applicant has either passed or failed the threshold. The agency has already begun tightening naturalization policies since President Trump's return to office, including more rigorous vetting of applicants, stricter review of disability exception requests, and guidance directing officers to assess applicants based on moral character and societal contributions. USCIS also resumed neighborhood investigations and emphasized that unlawful voting, false citizenship claims, or illegal voter registration disqualify applicants from demonstrating good moral character. These critical changes are the first of many, the agency stated. Like some of these questions, I don't even think actual United States citizens would know the answer to, which is kind of hysterical, but I'm absolutely in support of this. You're going to bring people into this country. You want them to not only be contributors to what we're doing in this country, but they should probably know a little bit about the country to become a citizen. I think it's great. I had forgotten that the Biden admin even scrapped that stuff. No, I'm absolutely loving it. We got this. The Senate confirmed 48 Trump nominees after GOP triggers rule change. I'm not sure how I feel about this one, guys. The Senate confirmed 48 of President Trump's nominees in a single vote Thursday after Republicans invoked the nuclear option to bypass the 60-vote threshold for batch confirmations. The rule change, backed unanimously by Republicans, including Suzanne Collins of Maine and Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, allows presidential nominees for executive branch roles to be confirmed in blocks with only 2 hours of debate. The measure excludes cabinet posts and judicial appointments. The 51-47 party line vote advanced a slate of sub-cabinet officials and ambassadors, including former Rep. Brandon Williams as Undersecretary of Energy for Nuclear Security. Kimberly Guilfoyle as Ambassador to Greece. I forgot. She was nominated for that like forever ago. She's just now getting through. Callista Gingrich as Ambassador for Switzerland and Liechtenstein. Majority Leader John Thune said Democrats had broken the process by slow-walking Trump's picks. Democrats countered that Trump's reliance on loyalists justified additional scrutiny. I mean, I'm glad that they got all these picks through, but it is a little like questionable to have like 48 things approved in one vote. You know, like when we look at bills, you know, the huge omnibus bills that they have up just hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of pages, and they stuff all the BS in there, and we're like, yeah, that's not the way to do things. We need single item voting, line item votes. But with this, it's like, okay, this is an omnibus nomination approval. It's the equivalent of that. And so while I'm glad some of Trump's picks are finally getting through, the process of doing this way is a little sketchy, but whatever. Bills are different, that I agree. Yeah. Yeah, Johnny needs a staff. Again, I'm glad these people got through. We should fix the problem that allows Democrats to slow walk them so that they can do each one individually in the normal timeline that they should have been from the first place, rather than keep the system broken and then do a batch vote at the end. You know, fix the process instead so you don't have to do the batch voting. Because what if there are some people that don't deserve to be? I mean, it's less likely than with Biden in office or anything, but again, it's more so the principle of it. That's all I'm commenting on. I think it is good that they got through. Biden's former chief of staff confirms decline in closed door testimony. Former White House chief of staff Jeff Zients gave the most detailed account yet in the House Oversight Committee's probe into misuse of the auto pen and efforts to mask Joe Biden's cognitive decline, according to a source familiar with the testimony. Appearing for a transcribed interview Thursday, Zients acknowledged that Biden's decision-making slowed during the final months of his presidency, noting meetings that once took 3 sessions began to take 4. He said Biden's speech stumbles and memory lapses worsened with age, contradicting public assurances from White House officials during the 2024 campaign that he was sharp and engaged. Do you remember what was his name? Scarborough? Joe Scarborough? He's cogent. Yeah, but he feels real stupid right about now. Zients testified that he and Joe Biden discussed adjusting the president's schedule to allow more rest and shorter days. He admitted speaking with aides who later pleaded the fifth, including Annie Tomasini, Anthony Bernal, and Dr. Kevin O'Connor, about limiting Biden's public appearances to avoid strain. He also said top advisor Anita Dunn floated a cognitive exam after the June 2024 debate, while he himself urged Dr. O'Connor to conduct a full medical workup. So that I don't think we've heard that before, that they were floating a cognitive exam after that debate. Isn't that what Trump suggested? Zients told investigators Biden's debate performance left him believing he should exit the race, a view he said was shared by Jake Sullivan and privately by cabinet officials such as Gina Raimondo, Dennis McDonough, and Antony Blinken. He added that Hunter Biden joined a few meetings on pardons late in the term before receiving one of the broadest pardons issued covering tax and gun convictions. There's no way that holds. If he was the one who got that signed, if he was in the meeting about his own pardon and Joe Biden, and they used the auto pen for it, there's no way that sticks. Chairman James Comer and Zients had a lot of responsibility with respect to the unauthorized use of the auto pen. Zients was the final witness among 14 former aides to testify. Final report is expected in the coming weeks. And remember the ramifications of the Hunter Biden pardon, because that investigation that was going on into Hunter Biden basically fell apart. And the prosecutor, the special counsel that was looking into it, he's like, yeah, this is kind of bogus, but we have no choice here. But those pardons absolutely should be re-examined, called invalid, and then the investigation should proceed from where they left off. Green ozone. The White House doctor said Biden was tip-top, sharp as a tack. Yeah. Dale D says, hamstringing the president's picks should be a problem for separation of powers. Just saying. I agree with you there. And that's what I said before. I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of the block 48 people getting confirmed at once, because it doesn't fix the actual problem of the stonewalling kids. Oh, kids, stonewalling picks. John, slowly for the special kids. It's all fake and gay, kid. Some of it, not all of it. Laws shouldn't be written to be so vague. I can agree with that too. I thought this was pretty interesting. Trump. Let me play this video here.
We're going to leave Afghanistan, but we're going to leave it with strength and dignity. We're going to keep Bagram, the big air base, that one of the biggest air bases in the world. We gave it to them for nothing. We're trying to get it back, by the way. Okay, that could be a little breaking news. We're trying to get it back because they need things from us. We want that base back. But one of the reasons we want the base is, as you know, it's an hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons.
Do you see Starmer's face when he says that? Look at him.
Okay, that could be a little breaking news. We're trying to get it back.
He's like, you're trying to do what? Why didn't you tell me that? But yeah, they're trying to get Bagram Air Force Base back. I think that's kind of baller. When you think back to how that whole thing went down and the stuff we've talked about over the years about the whole Doha agreement and the Taliban taking over the area, they got all these weapons. They're going to be the ones that took care of the peace situation in the Middle East for us, and we were just going to have a small presence there. And you know what? Let me see if I can find. Give me a second here, because there's an old article. Shoot, who was it? It was Chris Miller. It was. What was it? Doha? Was it about Doha specifically? Hold on. I really want to find this because I think it would shed a lot of light on what actually took place. Come on now. Chris Miller. Let me try it this way. I really want to find this article. Did they abandon the base? It was 2021, wasn't it? Full story has not been told. Yeah, this is it. I think I found it. Copy link. Let me open this up over here. Boom. Okay, old article from August 18th of 2021. So this was just a couple days after the Afghanistan withdrawal, the botched one. Trump's pledge to exit Afghanistan was a ruse, his final Secretary of Defense says. Chris Miller now says talk of full withdrawal was a play to convince a Taliban-led government to keep U.S. counterterrorism forces. Miller said the president's public promise to finish withdrawing U.S. forces by May 1st, as negotiated with the Taliban, was actually a play that masked the Trump administration's true intentions to convince Afghan President Ashraf Ghani to quit or accept a bitter power-sharing agreement with the Taliban and to keep some U.S. troops in Afghanistan for counterterrorism missions. I wonder if it says Bagram in here. How do you spell Bagram? Does anyone know? Hold for processing. Yeah, it's just Bagram. Why is it not showing up? Maybe it doesn't mention Bagram specifically, but this is what in the immediate aftermath of the Afghanistan withdrawal, this was one of the articles that completely stuck out to me because it was almost like there was a whole bunch of forced game theory going on where the Biden administration was carrying out publicly something that Trump never actually wanted to be done, but the way it was carried out still implemented the terms of the Doha Agreement, which was fascinating. So the fact that Trump is now saying like, hey, we're going to go back into Afghanistan, we want that base back. If he's saying it, you know it's going to happen. Yeah, Chris Miller thought he was in the mountain. Yeah, who knows where he's been. We haven't really seen much of Chris Miller in a long time. Starmer reminded me of Winona Ryder at the awards with all the faces he made. Need a reel of his face only. So funny. That is funny. I didn't watch the whole thing, but the clips I did see, he's just a very I don't know, what's the word? Expressive. Omnibus staffing. I'm just trying to see if there's any other comments. I'm liking this part of the script where Republicans are yelling back at Dems. So entertaining. What do you think of the following idea? Pass a constitutional amendment that pretty much states that all laws across the U.S. have been 100% unambiguous language. What do you think? Animated, that's a good one. Blaster Genetics. General Quast commanded that base after 9/11. I think I knew that. Anyway, so yeah, Trump wants the base back. I think it's fascinating. We'll see what and when that happens because you know it's going to. The House has approved a stopgap funding bill, putting shutdown ball in the Senate's court. Yeah, this is one of the things that's been kind of flying under the radar, especially on Twitter with all the Kirk stuff going on and other things. We're approaching a government shutdown for like the 100th time in the past 4 years. But the House passed their version of, what they needed to essentially put a stopgap funding thing in there so they can discuss and negotiate the full bill longer. It's up to the Senate, but this is where we're at. The House has passed a 7-week stopgap funding bill, putting Congress on a path to avert a government shutdown October 1st when current funding is set to expire. That is, if the Senate can pass the measure as well. The 217 to 212 vote went almost along party lines. Victory from Speaker Mike Johnson, who could only afford to lose 2 votes if all Democrats stuck together in opposition. Reps Thomas Massie of Kentucky and Victoria Sparks of Indiana voted no, while Rep. Jared Golden, Democrat, voted yes in the only party defections. The short-term patch spirited by Republicans is aimed at buying lawmakers more time to negotiate new funding levels for agencies across the federal government. But Democrats in both chambers are irate. Republicans are plowing ahead with a product they say was crafted with little input from their side of the aisle. As such, the measure is expected to fail in the Senate later today, prolonging the brinksmanship as lawmakers prepare to leave town for a week-long break ahead of a midnight deadline at month's end. Didn't they just get back from summer break and now they're getting a week-long break? Do these people ever do anything? Democrats are continuing to demand any funding measure include an extension of expiring enhanced subsidies for Obamacare insurance, blah, 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 blah. I'm hoping we shut down. I really am. I'm sure they won't this time. I'm sure maybe they never will, but I would love to actually see it. I would love to. Also, I'm kind of still keeping my eyes out for more pocket rescissions from Trump. I think we've really only gotten the one. And man, if I was him, I would pocket rescind the shit out of everything. Everything. Miss Rise Attire, I'm not convinced at all that we ever lost it, for the record. That's a great point. That's a great point about Brigham Air Force Base. It is entirely possible that that's true and we never did lose it. Richard Rohr, a psyop took place or it already happened and we're just hearing about it now. That is how most of them happen. Real question, if there was a shutdown, does that qualify for recess appointments? I think it does, but I don't quote me on that. I don't know. Ramon 222, technically Congress is always on vacation. Yep. We're going to get a 2,000-page omnibus bill with 10 minutes before the vote. Oh yeah, that's another thing. They're looking to pass a supplemental package to give Congress more security. Speaker Mike Johnson Friday teased passing a possible member security supplemental package in October as he's facing a handful of GOP members still balking over the issue ahead of the big funding stopgap vote later in the morning. This was earlier today, so like before they even had the other vote. Johnson said he expects a standalone measure to boost security, though he didn't bring this up during a meeting last night on the topic. There, he discussed boosting the dollar amount for member security funding as part of the fiscal 2026 legislative branch spending bill, according to two people in the meeting. I don't... Do they need more security? Do they really? Like, how much do they spend? How much do we spend on their security already? Yesterday before, Thune did a block of 50 nominations. Oh, for a block vote. Gotcha. Yeah, there's hundreds of Trump appointees that could be put in that way. And again, I'm cool with them getting in. They're Trump nominated, but doesn't mean they're all good, and doesn't mean it's the right way to do it. There's still an issue with them being slow walked in the first place. Many of them want to ban guns, let them go without security. I'd vote for that. PUD of all PUD jobs, Congress, high pay, insider trading, free medical, full pension for life, free mail, month-long paid vacations with paid weeks off here and there. You don't even have to show up. Patrick of Kekistan, good to see, man. I wonder if Trump could implement some kind of Smith-Mundt Act executive order under cog devolution. That's why the broadcast companies are starting to comply. You know, that's an interesting question. Maybe better left for a discussion on the Power Hour. I don't know. Did I freeze, guys? I don't think so. I would have to imagine for him to publicly pull off some things like it'd have to come from some form of public authority. The Smith-Mundt Act thing, the push for that, I'm curious to see if we get a bill on it. The whole Jimmy Kimmel getting fired, the FCC stuff. I'm kind of just over all the discussion and debate on Twitter over all this. I've kind of moved on. At least that's how I feel today. Maybe tomorrow I'll wake up and be like, yeah, let's argue about that some more. It just all feels like a distraction at this point. We're being sucked into this like power vacuum that has filled this like void in the conservative movement with Charlie Kirk on, and everybody's trying to like position themselves and siphon off some of the audience. And it's not just the existing audience, but it's also like all the new people that are now getting politically engaged. And I don't know, it's just all gross. I don't like it. So I'm kind of moving on at this point. Let's see what else we got here. Apparently, Carolyn Levitt is getting Secret Service protection. Surprised you didn't have that already. But interesting. Nothing new here, really, that I really want to discuss on just the news. Oh, Loudermilk is requesting the missing information from previous J6 Select Committee. That investigation has now been ongoing for a couple weeks. Curious to see what he finds. I hope they actually get to the bottom of it, and you'll know they do if they come to the conclusion that there was some sort of false flag, and it was either Congress or Antifa that was behind it. Wasn't there a story about a threat to a Democrat senator yesterday? Maybe, but I don't know if that's true. I wouldn't believe it. Maggie Bundy, spiritual awakening, John, but yes, the power struggle is real. Yeah, the spiritual awakening part of it is really good, and that's very encouraging. But also these people that used to watch Charlie Kirk and that are now engaged in politics and just community engagement generally, like 60-some thousand new chapter requests. That's a huge audience, key demographic that are looking for direction and want answers. And that's why we're seeing these like factions forming. And the part of this, we'll probably talk about it a little bit on Saturday. But the reason it's same old. It's this controlled opposition dynamic within the right from the right side, where factions kind of surrounding Ben Shapiro and a faction around Candace Owens, and there's like a bunch of key figures surrounding them, and they're just like going back and forth at each other, yelling at each other, trying to say like, this is what Charlie really believed. No, this is what Charlie really believed. And the dividing line seems to be over Israel, which is what it is. It always seems to be over Israel. And I'm not going to comment on that, but I can recognize the two factions that have formed, and people are going to basically be forced to choose a side, but both sides are never going to address the real problem of elections and all these other things in this country. It's going to keep us within this controlled opposition dynamic where we never actually make any real progress, but we might defeat, anti-Semitism or something, depending on who wins. Like the whole thing is just, I don't know. I can't get myself on board with any of it. John, once more for the slow kids. It's a psyop. Enjoy the show and don't get deleted. I love that you feel that way, man, and I appreciate your support, but I do believe you can't just sit back and enjoy the show. It's going to take a little more. It's like mom likes me the most mentality about who knew what Charlie Kirk said or Charlie wanted. The chat won't let me say anything about Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens. What? Oh. Anyway. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. There were 58 Democrats who voted against a resolution to honor the life and legacy of Charlie Kirk. I mean, those are easy political points for these people, voting in favor of it. But some of the people, they don't care. They just want to keep everything divided. And so it makes sense they didn't vote in favor of it. I don't know. It's all clickbait for these people. Social media. If they're on board with the rhetoric stuff and Trump's a Nazi and all those things, they obviously aren't going to vote for the thing that honors the life and legacy of Charlie Kirk, even though it's all bullshit. Let me rephrase that here, to be careful. Charlie Kirk is not those things. Like the Nazi stuff, that is what's bullshit, not the honoring the life and legacy of Charlie Kirk. Good post here from Jordan Sather. So Dutch Parliament adopted a motion to classify Antifa as a terrorist organization. So now it's not just the United States, it's another country. And there might have even been a couple more that are on board with this too. And so what he says here is this may lay the groundwork for Antifa not just being a domestic terrorist organization, but a foreign one. If Trump officially classifies Antifa as a foreign terror organization, that opens up a whole new set of tools at his disposal. And he's right here, but I don't even think he needs other countries to be involved with that. I think he already has enough for the foreign aspect. I think Bill Barr was actually investigating this back in the summer of 2021, and he acknowledged as such with the memos he was putting out, where he clarified these guys like the Boogaloo, Antifa, and a couple other ones, and now he said that they were being propped up by foreign actors who were trying to capitalize on the chaos. I think it's already there. Unexpected Gurgla says, just in, Russia to seize financial assets of international Satanists? Huh. I wonder who put that out there. Was that Bricks? Because Bricks is really good sometimes, but they're also a little clickbaity sometimes. So I don't know if I fully trust that. This is a story that went live just a little bit before I went live, so I haven't even read this yet. But I saw a picture of Robert O'Brien there and Devin Nunes, so I figured it'd be worth a read. So Devin Nunes is the president of the President's Intelligence Advisory Board. And here, let's just read this. Taiwan's de facto U.S. ambassador, Alexander Yui, met privately this month in Washington with members of the President's Intelligence Advisory Board, a previously low-profile group that officials say has become an influential node in President Trump's White House. The meeting was informal and arranged through a mutual contact, not an official PIAB session, though it marked one of the highest-level Taiwan-U.S. contacts of Trump's second term. National security officials say the encounter signals the board's growing influence in policymaking. PIAB members attending included Chair Devin Nunes, former National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien, and Amaryllis Fox, who's the Deputy Director of National Intelligence. Several sources noted the board is more active and visible than during Trump's first term, meeting regularly and serving as a direct channel to the president. Some former NSC staffers have even been approached about joining the PIAB, and foreign diplomats have begun consulting its members for national security insights. Appointed by the president, PIAB members are unpaid but hold security clearances. Unlike Trump's first term, when a chair was named late, he appointed Devin Nunes as a chair before inauguration and added 11 more members in February, reflecting the board's elevated role in the current administration. You know, I think this is interesting. I think they're right the way they're framing this is in, you know, this board has a little more power than it has in previous administrations and previous years. And I know a few people that have met with the board. I don't know if I'm at liberty to discuss them. I'd have to ask permission, and I'll do that. And if I can, I'll let you guys know. But there's some interesting conversations being discussed. And so the fact that they got mentioned again and they're meeting with Taiwan, Robert O'Brien is the guy who was like, yeah, if Taiwan gets invaded by China, we need to destroy all their chips manufacturing because we can't let China get that stuff. Liberty Line, John, please watch Tulsi Gabbard White House briefing after show. Big stuff, naming names all the way to Obama, Hillary, Brennan, and more. Do you have a link? Is that going on right now? Simon 411 says, if words stir you emotionally instead of provoking you to thought, remember you are their target and they succeeded. Then ask, how does that make you feel? It's a great point. That is a great point. Let me see what's going on with Tulsi Gabbard. I didn't know she was live. Hold for processing. But other than that, like I'm done for today. So there's nothing with Tulsi Gabbard here. Yeah, I didn't see her post anything recently. And if you're talking about this is probably what you're talking about. This is a recycled clip. This is from back in June or July. So this is old. We already knew this was coming. This was when she first released the declassified timeline of the meetings and everything that was taking place. This was like the first thing she declassified, and then we've had a bunch of declasses then. We've been very silent in the declass front lately, which has been a little disappointing because that was some of my favorite stuff to go through. But anyway, that's all I got for you guys. Oh, there's a live press conference right now. Is Tulsi there? U.S. breaking news live. Barack Obama arrested. Yeah, this is an old one, guys. This is clickbait. And it's 6 hours of like the same thing on repeat. Not live, clickbait. Careful. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. I'm going to get out of here. I got some stuff to do before I head home. So you guys have a great rest of your day. Let me see if there's any rants. Oh, I did read the one rant. Let me check if there's any boosts quick too. Hold for processing here. I don't see anything for the Daily Herald. So I think we're good. All right, guys, click that thumbs up if you don't mind. I probably won't be. I definitely won't be on OnlyLands tonight, but I think we have a pretty good lineup for you anyway. So make sure you tune in for that. And yeah, otherwise, I will see you tomorrow on the Power Hour. You guys have a great rest of your Friday and a great weekend.
Let's get started.
That's what she said.
Oh, that's real good.